New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you.
Hey everybody, Tracy Brown here, and welcome to this week's episode of The Inclusive Church with me, your host, Tracy Brown. And every week we come together to remind ourselves and each other that it really takes not only commitment, but continuous action, continuous learning, continuous expansion and evolution if we want to achieve our intention of having spiritual communities where oneness does not require sameness. Whew. So a couple of things I try to do every week, or at least every other week, is 2 comments. Comment number 1, that when we say the inclusive church, I am using church on purpose because for some reason, for many people, the word church means a piece of property, or they get in their mind, a brick and mortar building, often with stained glass windows or a steeple, but even not. Maybe it's an office building, but it's a building. And what I want us to do is remember that church is not a piece of property. Church is a collection of people who are committed to studying and learning and practicing and teaching spiritual principles or spiritual belief systems. So the use of church is to really take the word back and use it to be talking about the people who come together and congregate for a spiritual purpose. That's number 1. Number 2 is the reminder that anytime I say the word leader, or I'm talking about the leaders in our churches, I am not limiting the definition of leader to minister. I'm talking about everyone who contributes to leading a team, contributing significant money to actually deliver on the mission and the purpose, people who volunteer, people who are on staff and are being paid to lead classes or present music, all of that. We're all of those people are leaders as well and need to be involved in executing on this commitment or desire to be inclusive. Okay, so having said that, what are we talking about this week? So if you were with me last week, you know that we are doing a series during Black History Month that is focused on moving from ancient wisdom to modern new thought, looking at how ancient African wisdom is showing up in or is reflected in what we know today as new thought. Now, I'm really clear. This is not about claiming new thought came directly from African cultures, at least the ones that I'm going to focus on. What it is about is demonstrating how what we often refer to as universal spiritual principle, how spiritual law works. It is impersonal. It works the same for everyone. These universal principles existed before the 1800s. And so, since it's Black History Month, we're going to look at 4 of the many African cultural wisdom pieces that mirror, in a lot of ways, what we know and what we teach in New Thought in the 21st century. So today, in week 2, we're focusing on insights and highlights from Yoruba, from the Yoruban tradition. And if you were to look at a map today, a lot, not all, but a lot of what we know of Yoruban tradition would be Middle Africa, Central Middle Africa. Maybe if you know your geography or if you look at a map, when you look at where Nigeria is today, you could say that a lot of Yoruban culture developed in the geographic area that is not exactly, the national borders of Nigeria, but where Nigeria overlaps on the map today and going west from the little west and a little east from there. For those of you who want a kind of geo-cultural lens, but Yoruban culture has, like many others, this really fabulous focus on the inner divinity, the inner authority that comes because there is a oneness with the higher power that has created you. And there's so much about Yoruban culture that I love. It is going to be a little challenging for me to hold myself to 30 to 35 minutes. So pray for me, because I could do this for like 2 hours and I won't. So I want to just give you some highlights. So in Yoruban culture, in the religion or the spiritual foundation of Yoruba, this idea of inner divinity is key. It is core. Yoruba wisdom says that your Ori, O-R-I, knows the way. The power that you seek is already individualized as you. Destiny is not fate. Destiny is being in alignment with the spiritual truth that already exists. your personal destiny and the destiny of the collective. Another overlap is Yoruba teaches your inner authority matters more than external approval. You get your guidance from within, and that it is your choice to activate or not activate your spiritual power. Life is responding to you. You are not waiting for life to happen to you or to direct your path, i.e., fate and destiny. And again, going back to trusting the intelligence within. Now, if I didn't tell you that that was Yoruba culture or identity or Yoruba teaching, you would probably say, wait a minute, that's what we teach in New Thought, whether it's unity or science of mind or divine science, or right, you would be like, oh yeah, that's what we teach. That's what I know to be true. And and so I love Wayne. I think you're absolutely right. It's like the indwelling Christ is everywhere, not just in our current time in the 21st century. The indwelling Christ is something that is known in many, many traditions over centuries and centuries and centuries of life itself. So it's easy to see that in ancient times when Yoruban teaching was saying your inner authority is your guide, it was a known principle. It was a known principle. We did not make this up. So Ori, O-R-I, it's a word that you may not be familiar with, but it is a concept. It is a philosophy or concept. Now, if you did just a direct translation of the word Ori, it would mean head, right? Representing a person's inner spiritual intuition, destiny, and personal, like guardian of the soul and the direction that you take. But it does in the cultural environment, it does basically symbolize the essential self. A lot of times in prayer or spiritual mind treatment, I will say, this is what I know about God, and what I know about me is that my true essential nature is the nature, same as the nature of God. And so Ori, that's what Ori is. It is like I am guided by, and my essential self is the nature of God. And so that is my light, that is my direction, that is my guardian, but that also is what delivers me into the next thing that I prioritize. So I'm just going to go over again some of the key aspects of Ori and how it fits into this structure of ancient wisdom. So literally it translates into, Ori translates into head, but not the physical head, but it signifies the inner spark, the divine spark within, the foundation, the guide, the lead. It is also considered in some applications the personal deity that determines your life path, right? Not external, but internal. And it's the most important spiritual force in your life, right? It's intimately ingrained in you, and the primary lead. Some of you know that since I was a teenager, my motto for life has been you always have a choice. Saying that to myself, Tracy, you always have a choice. And so a lot of times when I think about how that directs me, it's like I go within and then I make the choice about what to prioritize or what to do next or where, what direction to go. And in many ways, Ori is like that. It's like it considers what could happen, what's out there, what's potential, and it guides you to make your own personal choices about that. So, this inner authority or this inner identity, even you could think of it as an inner identity in Yoruban wisdom, it's like that's your inner guide. And it's Black History Month, right? So, I'm also pulling in how it has showed up in African American culture, especially, but Black culture in the Western world, the Caribbean, the eastern part of South America, etc., as Africans were brought to the quote unquote Western world, and how some of that innately stayed with us or got translated from generation to generation, even though it wasn't taught as you are Yoruban and you will do it this way. So, Black culture says, don't let nobody tell you who you are. And I know when I was growing up, it was really embedded in me that because I was a Black person in a predominantly white society, and there was still a lot of tension. Oh, wait, there's still a lot of tension today, but that's a whole nother show. So, I remember being told as a young child that you cannot expect to know who you are based on how white people see you or what people tell you about yourself. You must go within and find your inner connection and be clear about who you are no matter where you go. And that, as I got older, got translated beyond racial stereotypes to simply, as a person, I am responsible for what I make of my life, and no one outside of me can dictate who I am or everything that I do or who I become. And so in Science of Mind, under the umbrella of New Thought, we teach self-concept is causative. What you believe about yourself is who you become, or the life that you believe you can have is the life that you create. And with the Yoruban tradition, that whole inner authority and identity piece is very clear. It's not about ego. It's not about power over someone else. It is about spiritual clarity of who you have come here to be. And there is no external person or system that can validate that. It is between you and that which created you, and it is your responsibility to express that. So, a lot of my thoughts in this last week and prepping for today have been around, well, if Ori is the head and it is the true essential nature, and I am to rely on that. When I was growing up as a Black person, what did I learn and how did I learn this principle? Because I promise you, nobody ever said to me in my growing up years anything about Yoruba or Ori or anything like that. I never even heard of Yoruban culture until I was probably maybe in my early 20s, but I think in my late 20s or early 30s. So, and the Black community in general, overlaying the norms and the cultural ideas that you see frequently, it's like I know who I am. Preaching in many Black churches is about affirming the goodness of who you are or who you can be or what you need to, who you can be in society. Not the theology part, but the affirmation of, as a Black person, you have value. And if you are centering your life around the example set by Jesus, you are going to find your way through whatever is going on in society. And so this whole idea of don't let nobody tell you who you are. And even for me, one of, if you want to quote Tracy Brown, one of my favorite quotes is, I don't have to know who you are to be who I am. I don't have to know who you are to be who I am, because you are not going to define me. And it's not your job to define me. It's not my job to let you define me. And so, probably for 25 or 30 years, that's been one of the quotes I've used a lot when I'm speaking or even just in my own spiritual practice. I don't have to know who you are to be who I am. I'm not going to design my life based on who you are, how you treat me, how you show up, what you tell me you want, what you think is better. None of that. I'll hear it, but it doesn't guide me. So in New Thought, the overlap is the presence of spirit lives in me, as me, and through me. And I trust its guidance. It is the same thing. There is an inner knowing. There is an inner authority that is always right here, ready to express as you. But you have to choose it. You have to welcome it. You have to implement it. And so in New Thought, we teach it's my self concept that determines my experience, what I believe I can achieve. Where my attention goes, where my attention flows, that's where my life goes, right? It's this self concept, what I believe about myself ultimately creates my life. In New Thought, we teach you have to choose, right? And so I accept my power to choose, and I choose consciously, or I choose consistently. I remind myself over and over, this is what I choose. And the universe pushes in and delivers that which I am choosing to have or to be. And from an African American perspective, I might hear someone say, I'm standing in my truth today. I am standing in my truth today. All of this is a direct overlay, a mirror of what was being taught in an ancient African culture and in an ancient time that could not even imagine what we would be doing in the 21st century, thousands of years later. In New Thought, we teach I am the author of my life, and I get to authorize what I want through spiritual understanding. And in the Black community in the 19th, 20th, and 21st century, you might hear people say, I've got the authority to live this life right. I am my own authority to know what is best for me and mine. So this whole idea about claiming inner authority, especially in a world that questions whether or not you are a member of a group that has the authority to claim your own experience, it is so so in alignment with Yoruban culture and Yoruban principles. And so this month, as we continue during Black History Month to look at what was taught and what was practiced in ancient African culture, and look at how that has shown up in the Black experience in the Americas, and how it mirrors what is taught and practiced in New Thought communities globally, right here and now. Today, we have focused on Yoruban culture, the concept of Ori, that this spiritual truth is the head or is the guidance for your life if you follow it. It is an opportunity to simply reflect and to be grateful for our opportunity to honor the old while we live in the new. Next week, we'll be taking a look at one of the key and core principles in Akan culture. And in the last week of February, we will look at the concept of Ubuntu and how that showed up in ancient times and how it has woven through the decades and centuries to our current application of it today. But my name is Tracy Brown. I am excited about this series. I hope there's been at least one idea that made you go, ooh, I want to think about that. Or maybe you want to look up Ori or I on the internet and learn more about it, or learn more about Yoruba or Yoruban culture. But in the meantime, just get ready for even more next week. I'm so glad that you chose to be with me today, and we'll see you next Tuesday at noon Mountain Time, right here on the New Thought Media Network. Bye.
Come expand your spiritual journey. Join us for Just the Talk. Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Experience Unity Kitchener and Ottawa. Center for Spiritual Living Midtown. Center for Spiritual Living Denver. Unity of Garden Park. New Thought Philadelphia. The Sunshine Cathedral. Unity of Savannah. And the Om Center for Spiritual Living. Come unleash your spiritual potential with New Thought Media Network.
Thanks for watching The Inclusive Church with Tracy Brown. Join us again next week at 12 noon Mountain Time.